You just need to talk to someone and unburden from the events of your day. You just might get your heart's desire.
Hello.
Tonight with Somi on 95.1 Nigeria Info, Abuja.
Thank you for being here to talk to me. All right, thank you for staying with us and welcome back to Tonight with Somi here on 95.1 Nigeria Info. Experiencing a bit of a technical issue, and I needed to make sure that my guest was, all set up and ready to take you on our first segment of Body and Soul today. So that whole thing about the myth versus fact segment, we will find a way to slot it into the conversation because, like I said, it still boils down to the conversation around sexual and reproductive health. But I'm just going to go straight into the conversation for the hour because my guest is here waiting. Dr. Augsburg Habila is here with me. Dr. Augsburg Habila is here with me this evening. Hi, Dr. Augsburg. How are you doing?
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening,
everyone.
Thank you so much for joining.
To be here.
Yes, indeed. It's great to have you. Dr. Augsburg is a dedicated medical doctor, a healthcare innovator, an advocate for accessible health education with a strong background in clinical practice and digital health. And he's not just a clinic person, because beyond the clinic, Dr. Augsburg actively volunteers in medical outreaches and providing healthcare services to underserved communities and promoting health awareness at the grassroots level. His commitment to bridging healthcare gaps drives his passion for educating and empowering people with knowledge that can transform their well-being. I couldn't have asked for a better person to come. That's an extensive resume indeed. So get ready because you're going to bring this wealth of knowledge to the show, to the conversation. You're going to educate us, and I'm sure the people are going to have questions. I'm hoping that by next week Thursday we'll have another doctor join us who has in his own specialty. But Dr. Augsburg is here with us today, and it's such an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, people, we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. You want to go there and check out this doctor. You can hear the voice already. Don't be intimidated. Dr. Augsburg has this really very welcoming, friendly face. You know that thing about doctors sometimes, they're always looking so serious and they're about to dissect something. But Dr. Augsburg looks like he's so gentle.
We're
and
about to dissect this topic now.
We're about to dissect. All right. So go ahead, join us on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja, and let's get dissecting. We are starting off Body and Soul, first edition ever, with conversations around sexual and reproductive health. So I'll just let the doctor do his thing. Educators, generally speaking, when we're talking about sexual and reproductive health, what are we talking about?
All right. Let me just start by greeting everyone again. Good evening, everyone. As she mentioned, I'm Dr. Habila Augsburg, and today we are going to be talking about a topic that people just whisper about, but it's something that, I feel everyone should be screaming on top of their voices wherever they're going to. But don't worry. I promise not to make this let me not promise, but I'll try not to make it like a boring biology class.
Yes, please not.
Yeah, just stick with us and listen. And we're going to be talking about sexual and reproductive health. We'll start with sexual health and then ease into reproductive health. Think about it like preparing jollof rice. You don't just put everything together and then put it on the fire. You have to bring in the oil, chop the onions, chop the pepper, and bring in the spice. at the right time and the right moment. So we are going to approach this topic from that angle.
Okay.
You know? So sexual health, when people hear about sexual health, the first thing that comes to their mind is, avoiding STIs or preventing unwanted pregnancies, which of course it's part of what it is, but that's not what it's all about. It's also about feeling good about your sexuality, having safe, respectful relationships and being confident in your choices. In short, sexual health, pleasure, and respect all wrapped in one. So, are you with me?
Oh yes.
You're just smiling and
yeah. I'm with you. I see. I'm following. I'm following. Just keep going, Dr. Habila. We're with you.
All right. So for sexual health, the key components, there's the physical health. It's physical, what you can touch, what you can see. Is your body healthy? Are you free from infections, the sexually transmitted diseases? Is everything working as it should? And even if you have the STIs, are you doing the right things to, keep yourself healthy? Because the definition of health is not, when they define health, they don't just say is when you're 100%, but it's a complete state of physical, emotional, and mental well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. So you can still have the STI and be healthy.
Oh.
So this, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about all this. I'm just giving, an overview, the tip of the iceberg, So this physical health is the part that people usually focus on, because that's like what's like the emergency. That's what is scary. That's what feels scary. But it's more than that. There's the emotional and mental health. Are you comfortable with who you are? Do you feel safe and respected in your relationships? Is your mind in a good place? If your mind is not in a good place, it will affect your sexual health. The biggest sexual health, and I say sexual health, the biggest sexual organ is the brain. Do you know that?
No. I mean, I heard it. I thought it was a myth.
The penis or the size of the boobs or whatever. It's not the six packs. It's the brain.
Okay.
Because if the mental health is not right, it's going to affect every other part. Yeah. So another aspect we would also be talking about is the social well-being, and this would involve the relationships we have, the kinds of relationships. Are they healthy relationships? Do you feel respected in those relationships? And that's where we'll be talking about the concept of consent.
Oh, okay.
It's also part of sexual health. Because, you don't want to feel pressured into doing something you're not okay with. Whether you're 18 or whether you're 80, it doesn't matter. You should be comfortable with your choices. Sexual health isn't about doing the do.
It's not just about, or it's not about at all? Which one is it?
It's not just about doing the do.
Okay.
If it was just about that, I mean, on this call with you would be a banana or a plantain. But here I am.
Okay, that was good. Okay.
So, yeah. Do you want to say something?
No. Go ahead. So I mean, from what you're saying,
right.
You're saying there is a whole world to sexual health and reproductive health. But I'm starting with sexual health, of course. So you're talking about the physical well-being, the social experiences that people are having. All of this, you're saying, contributes to sexual health. Okay. All of these things, do they also lead to sort of where people are having dysfunction sexually, or is that a separate conversation or altogether?
It's still all part of sexual health.
Okay.
Because if you are talking about being sexually dysfunctional, that's a whole different topic on its own, because there are a lot of things that can cause it, And
Okay.
this same aspect of sexual health I mentioned, the physical, the emotional, mental, and social well-being, they have subunits that can still cause that dysfunction you're talking about. So it's all part of it.
Okay. All right. I expect that we'll also get into conversations around maternal health as well. Is maternal health a thing that is over? How would I put it now? Overemphasized. Shouldn't we also be having conversations around the health of the man? Or is maternal health such a big deal that it's like a subtopic on its own? Because I remember when I was looking at how we're going to take on the conversations on body and soul, I saw maternal health on its own. When you're looking at antenatal, prenatal, postpartum issues, there's some other big grammar that I'm hoping that you can help us break down. But apart from maternal health, is paternal health a thing? Because, in these parts of the world especially, we are finding people, we're finding that there's a lot of pressure on the health of the woman. And it's like everything that happens as far as her maternity and all of that is on her. As opposed to on the man. So I want to understand if we're gonna talk maternal health and then go and face the men and say, okay, these are the issues as well that contribute to some of the things that we're seeing in terms of sexual and reproductive health.
That's actually very important.
Okay.
Because it's true that there's like a huge burden on women, maternal health and all that, and then we ignore these men that are major culprits.
See the way you said these men. You didn't say we men, you said these men.
Because if let me give an example.
Right.
If you are talking about the statistics for infertility, if you go to societies, they'll be like, is the woman, and then you see the man getting married to different women, or approaching different women just to see if he can have a child, or maybe have a male child. But then people forget that these men play a major role. Now, the statistics, as I was saying, is 40. NEPA. Hey, I'm so sorry, guys.
Nigeria will not fall our hand. But go ahead. The people can hear you. Perhaps those streaming will have to be a bit patient. But go ahead with the conversation. People can hear you.
Like I was saying, the statistics, the percentage between men and women is the same. Men is 40%, women is 40%, and both parties are unknown is 20%. So there's no this person has more responsibility than this person. It's all hands on deck.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's good to know. So we're still talking about what the people can expect from the conversations on body and soul going forward. Thank you for sharing all of that. We are going to be getting into proper detail, whether it is the man, whether it is the woman, whether it is the role that each person is playing, whether it is a case of their mental health or the state of the things around them that are contributing to all of that. And Dr. Habila, we're hoping in the weeks to come, will be able to show us, because sometimes when doctors are, oh yay, the light is back. when doctors are trying to break these things down to us, sometimes the terminology can be a bit confusing. So we're hoping that in the weeks to come, when he's talking about a certain body part, you can see that body part. You can see what it would possibly look like, maybe from a prop or from a model or something like that. So you're going to want to tune in, especially streaming live, and hopefully NEPA will not be doing us shege as it just did, so that you can see everything that Dr. Habila is talking about. All right, Dr. Habila, I think we've gotten pretty much the layout of what the show is going to look like, right? So let's see if we can do something. I typically have a segment right before these conversations where we address a myth or we take a phrase or a statement and trying to see whether it is a myth or whether it is a fact. And I was supposed to do that right before you came on. And I thought it best that you jump in on the conversation. So we're just going to get straight into that one, and then we'll continue from there as to what the people can expect. So again, when we're saying what people can expect, while we're having these conversations, if you're listening and you want to ask a question, or you have a medical issue that you want Dr. Habila to look into, that probably provide a little bit more insight, you can do that. You can call in on the phone lines, or you can send a message via WhatsApp. Or if you want to, perhaps it's a little bit lengthy and you need a proper room to break it down, you can reach out via my email. It's somi@nigeriainfo, and I'll make sure Dr. Habila gets in on it and has the conversation with you. But while we are waiting for all of those to come in, let's address one thing here. It's a statement that we see a lot, and we want you to let us know whether it is a myth or whether it is a fact. Okay? Are you with me, Dr. Habila?
Yeah.
Okay. There's this thing people say that when you have a lot of sex, it helps you with weight loss. I've heard it helps you with weight loss. I've heard it helps if you have a cold, it helps take your cold away. I've heard some really pretty out of the way things about sexual activity, and some people use this as an excuse to engage. If we're drilling it down a little, if we're drilling it down a little bit, you're trying to bring it a little bit closer to home, you hear things like, men, if they're having sex constantly, it helps to prevent prostate cancer. You're hearing all sorts of things about sexual activity and what it does and what it does not do. Please help us. Is there a general myth about sex? Is it overemphasized to the point that it is now beginning to be seen as the remedy to some ailments? I've heard the one about prostate cancer. I've heard about weight loss, and I've also heard about cold. So help us.
There's a lot out
help
there.
us.
Yeah.
Oh, you've heard some others too. Please help us with some of these myths and help us demystify as we get into the conversation.
Yeah. No, the thing with myths are when you hear it. Okay, let me say when I hear it, it sounds ridiculous. Like, because usually how a doctor thinks is we try to make connections between things.
The science and
if you're saying
and the words you're saying.
Exactly. Yes. It has to make sense. So, like the example you gave, having sex can help with weight loss. It's plausible. It's possible. I mean, yes. Because sex, it's a vigorous exercise, and it involves burning a lot of calories.
Depending on how long
And
you're
with
going.
the concept,
Depending on how long you're going at it for, right?
Yeah. And the concept of weight loss is very, very simple. It's just basic arithmetic. If you are imputing more calories than you are giving out, you'd gain weight. And if you are outputting more calories than you are putting in, you'd lose weight.
Okay.
So
If you can hold that thought. Sorry, we have a quick commercial, but just hold that thought. We'll come right back to you.
Enjoy Teaser's apple flavor, refreshing, crisp garden freshness in every drop. Teaser's orange flavor, pure bliss, like sunshine in a bottle. And Teaser's lime and lemon flavor, an electrifying combination, a thrill ride in every sip. Whatever your mood, get a bottle of Teaser's. So, what's your choice? Grab a Teaser today and let the fun begin. Enjoy responsibly. Teaser's is for those 18 and older. Teaser's, the fun never ends.
Sorry about that. We're back. Sorry about interrupting your train of thought. But go ahead. You were talking about the arithmetic of sexual activity.
Yeah. So if the calories you burn from your sexual activity plus other activities you do during the day, if it's way more than the calories from what you're eating, of course you'd lose weight. So it's not like it's because of a magical thing the sex is doing. It's just the calories you're burning.
Okay. But again, like I said,
Yeah, there are a lot of
it's said that, for example, the
And
thing about sexual activity and weight loss and calorie counting is that apparently experts estimate that 30 minutes of sex burns about 85 to 150 calories. So you need to be going at it for some reasonable amount of time for it to count, right? Or is that also a myth? Did those numbers add up?
of course, you have to be going at a reasonable amount to count. But
Okay.
as I mentioned, you'll be doing other activities. It's not like, I mean, who are you to be having sex for like 24 hours for like 1 week or for like 1 month? Of course, you'll be doing other activities, and that counts. But saying you're depending just on sex for weight loss, you'd have to be doing a hell of a fasting.
How about the one about it curing cold? I've heard that one too. Myth or fact, sir? You are shaking your head vigorously. Myth or fact?
Myth.
Myth.
In fact, there's no cure. There's no cure in quotes for cold.
Oh, really?
There are things that could help, like support you when you're sick, when you're down with the flu. But there's no drug that would cure you from that because they're usually caused by viruses, and we don't have the drugs to combat these viruses. I mean, we do, but it's not. If you weigh the benefits, the pros and the cons outweigh the benefits.
Okay.
So that's why we just stick to like supportive treatments, making you feel better, suppressing the cough, and making your stuffy nose better.
Okay. So when you say there are things that can help, sex is not one of those things that people should just remove that one from their vocabulary. That it helps with cold.
Nah.
Okay. Okay.
Nah.
Okay. I'm gonna ask one last one, and that's the one about prostate
Maybe I
cancer.
should ask you one.
If you can ask,
Maybe I should ask.
I don't know if I'm a doctor enough to answer, but you can ask me. But before you ask me, the one about prostate.
Perspective. I just want to hear your perspective.
Okay, go ahead, ask.
Because I mean, for me, it's not just doctors that have a perspective.
Okay.
I just want to hear like your thoughts on that.
On which one exactly?
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
People say the myth I'm about to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, they say if someone looks healthy, then they can't have an STI.
As a matter of fact, I saw that one during my research. So you want to know what I think about that? I've researched it, so I already have the answer. Yeah. So I'm just going to give you based on what I read. It's definitely a myth. If somebody looks healthy, they can't have an STI. Is definitely a myth. Because, I mean, if I were to play Ojoro, even yourself, you said it. It was one of the things you said as your introduction, if you remember, that, you can have an STI and you still look... Wait, no. I think the way you put it, you said you can have an STI and you can still be healthy.
Be healthy.
Yes, I think that was what I heard you say. But I do know that, the thing about... people who with STIs, you can always tell on their face, is a myth. It's definitely a myth. Yes. So have I answered your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like this last sentence that you made now, didn't convince me a lot. You said STI showing on the face is a myth. To the layman, it is. But I mean, for health professionals, you could see some signs that could give you hints that, this is a pointer.
To an STI.
Layman, of course. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why you are here to educate us. You see, it's good that I brought you here. So, I mean, I'm sure we're going to have all of those conversations as we're going on in the talk around sexual health, first of all, and then we'll transit to reproductive health. All right. So the one about prostate cancer, please help us provide clarity on that one before we move on. Men who have sex constantly, does it help them to reduce their chances of prostate cancer? Dr. Habila, are you there? Oh. Okay. Hello? All right, I'm going to try and get Dr. Habila back on. But remember, this is not just for me and Dr. Habila. I mean, now is even the time, right, now is the time for you to maybe help. How would I not help? Now is the time for you to say, okay, these are the areas that you'd like for us to look into. I told you that we're starting with sexual health, then we'll transit into reproductive health. So now is the time for you to let us know, okay, these are the areas that you want us to look into. These are the areas that you feel would help address some of the concerns that you're having. And Dr. Habila has given you is pretty much giving you the rundown of everything that sexual health has to do with. Let's see if I can bring them up again. It's everything from your expression to your relationships to matters of pleasure. We're going to be looking at that as well. We're going to look at issues of sexual dysfunction, in some cases sexual violence, and then harmful practices like we're seeing with female genital mutilation, which is, being observed today, zero tolerance for that. And then we're going to go into family planning conversations about not just maternal, but paternal health. And then we'll have a conversations around STIs as well. So let's just give it a few minutes for Dr. Habila to join us back, and then we will take that on. But I have a caller, and we lost the call. I have some messages that came in here. Let's see if I can look to them while Dr. Habila is trying to reconnect. Bennett sent a message, says you're doing great, thank you. Was talking about the things that were getting on his nerves, terrible network. AEDC doing their thing, CAC having their contact channels blocked, is this EFCC? Oh, wow. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, we'll come back to that during the dial down. Let's take this call. Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, John?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening once again. I hope you were listening. Are you caught up now? Do you know what we are talking about?
Yes, I know what you two are talking about. I want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
This one is happening to me right now. Like, I do have this bad feeling.
Is it on sexual and reproductive health? Is there anything that has to do with your medical state?
No, this is not, I don't know. But let me just come back openly to you now. I've not had sex before. So whenever I have this nearby, like opposite gender, my body reacts, and the doctor also said, I don't want to go for that. Whenever I have opposite gender, like my body reacts, and I do have this bad feeling. So
yes, Dr. Habila, just a second.
And also, even that it also happens, like if the thing comes to bed regularly, but I don't know how to control myself, but I don't hurt anybody. Like I'm just on my own, just like that. So I don't know if you can help me like clarify something I can do or anything at all.
Okay, so let me understand you. John. You are saying that you've not had sex before, but whenever you are with the opposite sex, your body reacts. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of reaction? You need to be specific.
Reaction means I have feelings like meaning that. I don't want to mention names. No, you see this time of the night, you can mention names. You have an erection, is that it? Yes.
Okay, so you want to know how to what now? How to handle yourself in such situations?
Myself,
okay.
Because it is disgracing me a lot, like a lot. Most people know about it.
Okay. Okay, all right. Dr. Habila will get to that in a little bit, all right? Hi, Dr. Habila.
Hello.
Okay.
Sorry, myself a bit.
Welcome back. All right. While you were gone, it got a little busy. I was going through some messages, and then we had a call that came in. Somebody already has an issue, a sexual health issue, I believe, that he would want you to perhaps get into. Some people were worried. Laraba was already saying, did NEPA strike again when you went away? She also said the biggest sexual organ in the body is the brain. Interesting. I don't recall having heard this before, but then she says it makes total sense. All right. Thank you so much for your message, Laraba. All right, Dr. Habila. We were trying to get you to answer the question on sex and prostate cancer. And then I'll tell you what the listener called in to say.
All right.
Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, so
You said you're
I was
against
asking you to
this
address whether it's a myth or a fact. The thing they say, where they say men who have sex more often are less likely at risk of prostate cancer. Is that a myth or a fact?
That's a myth. I don't see the relationship. Because there's a whole lot of things that cause prostate cancer. It ranges from smoking, alcohol, family history, and like a whole lot of factors. And these factors are not. It's not like when you're reading textbooks in medical school, they will tell you that the cause of this disease is not known. However, there are theories and factors associated with this, and then they go on with 3 chapters explaining them. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a myth.
Okay, that's a myth, he says. All right. We are fully in the conversation around sexual health. We have a concern from a listener who has called in to say he's experiencing so-and-so challenge. But I was hoping that you could give us a little bit more information. Like, what are the major things to look out for someone who is said to be sexually healthy? Are you there? Okay. We have to bring Dr. Habila back on again in a little bit. Hang in there with me, people, and we'll fix that. Okay, he's back. Hello? Can you hear me? All right, let's take this call. Hello? What is going on today? Dr. Habila, are you with me? All right, we'll come back to Dr. Habila in a little bit. Let's take this call. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Yeah, well done. Hello? Are you listening?
I can hear you. Yes, I'm with you. Go ahead, please.
What I want to discuss, we need to talk about whether it's pure cold.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Say that again, please.
Whether it's pure cold. Now you're asking Dr. Habila whether it's pure cold.
Oh, yeah, whether it was a myth or a fact, whether sex cures cold.
See, to be you and Dr. Habila seem to be your kids. The positive and the positive and negative produce heat. It's why people are together, not the sex issue of it. When we are wrapped together, that's what kills the cold. When there's cold, that's what kills the cold.
Okay.
Aspect of it.
Okay, you're talking about like when someone is feeling cold. We're talking about when someone has a cold. There's a difference.
Yes. The wife produced the husband that produced the cold.
Okay.
Because the woman is hot.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Habila, hi. Okay. All right, Dr. Habila is back. Forgive us, please. Something about the network today. So yes, occasionally, there's a tripping off and on. But Dr. Habila is back with us now. Hi. Can you hear me? Okay. All right.
Sorry about the technical mishaps.
Oh yeah, we're dealing with it. All right, welcome back. So we've done a little bit of an introduction, but I wanted you to get into some of the major things. Like let's talk about it now. When someone is said to be sexually healthy, let's look at some of the major things that people need to look out for or need to keep doing to for them to be said to be in a state of sexual health? I don't know if you can get into that briefly, and then we'll then address something that a caller has called in to talk about regarding his own sexual state.
Okay. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
All right. For you to consider yourself sexually healthy, in quotes, you would have to meet the criteria of the components we talked about: the physical health, the emotional health, and then the social well-being. So for the physical health, like I said, do you have any STIs? If you don't have any STIs, fine, that's good, 100%. But if you have STIs, what are you doing? What are you doing to make yourself? Because previously people used to die when you have HIV. It's like a death sentence. In like few years, you are gone. But now people live years with HIV. People live years with hepatitis because of the advances in modern medicine. Lots of times people are even scared to go and check if they have STIs or not. Like, why should you be scared? And then you hear things like, when you're going to do the STI test, you find what you're looking for.
Wow.
But I mean, if you're engaged in activities that pose a risk to you, then of course you have to check. Because then if you don't check, you may have it and then it's just there doing damage and you have no idea. And it will even cost you more in the long run. Because I like it, at some point you will find out. You can't run away from it. So for the mental health, emotional and mental health, talking about the brain, your relationship, and your mind. You know, a lot of people get affected by trauma. Trauma in form of emotional trauma, physical trauma. You know, trauma from family and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a way these things affect us. If you don't have, let me say, like a template to manage your stress or to manage the stress that you face. Because if there is no way you manage the stress, your brain would find a way to manage it for you.
Mm.
That's why you see people going into depression and other kinds of mental illnesses, not because they deserve it or so. Because when you're talking about mental health now and mental illnesses, people think like when someone is depressed, someone would say, snap out of that depression. It's not you. Like,
be a man.
Snap out of that depression.
Man up.
And snap out of that depression. Yeah. But it's not about manning up now. Because the same way you cannot snap out of stroke or snap out of diabetes, snap out of malaria, or you have typhoid, you snap out of it. In the same way you cannot just snap out of the mental illness. So it's very, very important too. And for the mental health, apart from the other things I mentioned that contributes, the family and others, the nature of your relationship. People are just jumping into relationships now just because they want to be in a relationship or because of certain benefits that they're getting from it. But if you're not in there for the right reasons, you don't get the right, things you deserve. And for the social well-being too, it's all connected, consent in your relationship. Because lots of people think consent is not needed when you're dating someone or when you're married to the person. But I feel like consent is the basis for sexual health. If there's no consent, then let's just go to our houses now and be like animals.
Break down that particular thing about consent in marriages for me, because it's I think it's a hard thing to swallow, a hard pill to swallow in this part of the world. Like, for people who are married, why is consent still important? and how does it translate to the sexual well-being of the parties involved?
Okay. A lot of time people think, I'm not going to talk from the perspective of a married person because, I'm not married. I've never been married. And in fact, I'm not going to pretend to understand what they are going through or their perspective. But all I'm going to say is consent is clear communication, clear, enthusiastic, yes, not a mumbled. People think once you're married, two shall become one, then there is no consent. But you seem to forget that actually you guys are actually still two different people. You guys are two different personalities. You have to understand each other. There are times when this person comes back home, they're tired or they don't feel good. And consent is all about communication, talking openly with your partner about what feels good or what doesn't, what you don't like, talking about what you're comfortable with.
Okay, so it's not just a case of, yes, I want to do, no, I don't want to do. It's, this is how I want to be done. If you can say that. This is how I want you to handle me. This is what works for me. This is what doesn't work for me. And this thing that doesn't work for me, if I don't like it, please don't do it. It's not just a case of, oh, I don't want to have sex, or yes, I want to have sex. Is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, that provides a little bit of clarity. Okay, that's fine. Of course, in the conversation, in the weeks to come, we're going to break down each and every one of those things. We'll start with the physical aspect, then we'll go to the mental, and then we'll go to the social part of it, so that we provide a lot more information around how each and every one of those things is important to sexual and reproductive health. But let's come to what the comments are saying. This is MC Genius for me, Tama. He says, I think sex is one of the natural remedies to cold. You don't need to be told by medical personnel, he says. When someone is sweating, it's obvious that he or she is in the state of vasoconstriction. You see these words? I said that my doctors, who I guess should not use these big, big words. And then here you are, listener, giving me vasoconstriction. I will leave that to Dr. Habila to break down. He says, though it's a layman's statement, however, it's also a fact that sexual activity can temporarily eradicate cold. It's natural. I also had someone who called in earlier to say, even though I think he misunderstood the context, because I was asking concerning people who have a cold, not people who are cold. There's a difference between when you're feeling a chill and then you rub up against your partner, and of course the body heat helps to keep you warm. It's different from somebody that is having cold, kata, you're sneezing, your nose is running, your eyes are tearing up. That's what I'm asking about. Say again.
Oh, okay.
No, that was what a listener called in and was saying that was his thought on it. He was talking about someone who is cold, not someone who has a cold. But an MC Genius has sent a message now saying that vasoconstriction and all, and that it's a fact that sexual activity can temporarily eradicate cold. You want to speak to that before we move on?
He's spitting facts, But the cold he's talking about there is, like you said, cold in the context of temperature, not cold in the context of having a flu.
Okay, I'm talking about this person that talked about vasoconstriction. First of all, what is that? Because we said we were going to break it down.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, yeah. Vasoconstriction, it's coined from two words, Vaso, meaning the blood vessel, then constriction, like when you constrict something. So vasoconstriction just means the blood vessel becoming thinner, becoming narrower, while the opposite, vasodilation, the blood vessel opening up, becoming wider.
Okay, so based on this, he's saying it is a fact that sexual activity will temporarily eradicate a cold. Is that word? Or is that not true?
That's word.
Okay, all right. So, MC Genius, thank you for bringing clarity to that.
Of temperature, yeah.
Okay, all right then.
Because it's as good as every other exercise. It's not like it's because sex is a good exercise that does that. I mean, every other exercise does the same thing.
Okay, I think we've gotten enough clarity on that. All right, let's move on. I have two questions for you. One, a listener called in, John, and he said there's something he's noticed with his body. He says he's never had sex before, but whenever he sees a woman or a female, someone from the opposite sex, his body reacts. He has an erection, and it's something that they have known him for. It's become a thing of embarrassment, and he wants to know what's going on with him first and foremost. Why is his body reacting like that? And then secondly, what really is the problem, and how can he resolve it?
I would say what you're experiencing is natural, but then maybe you should check the kind of trousers you wear if your erection is giving you problems in public. Find some way to conceal it. But I mean, it's pretty natural to have an erection when you see someone you're like really attracted to.
I don't think for him it's a case of attraction. The way he made it sound, though, and John, correct me, feel free to call in and correct me if I'm wrong. He made it sound like he can't control his reaction around the opposite sex generally. Not a thing of attraction or lack of attraction. Yes, like he sees it and he's at attention. And he says he's never had sex before. Could that be a contributing factor as to why his body just seems to move on its own? I know it's not that rare with men, but the frequency of it, the regularity of it, perhaps, I think is what is his major problem. So what's going on there, and is there a remedy for him?
I think this concept is pretty it's a template. This concept is a template for a lot of things we humans experience naturally, because we are born with a lot of things we don't understand. And as humans, we are still trying to understand how our body and our minds work. Now, the mind is a world on its own. We have ideas and a lot of things flowing around. Now, it depends on you how you react to those things. But how do you develop, the discipline and the willpower to make certain decisions? There are a lot of things you can put in place to get there. But one of the things I usually advise people is meditation. It's one of the basic things you can try. And meditation is the concept that helps you to be present with your thoughts and your urges, and just present with yourself. And I would recommend that you could. I mean, don't think about it as something outlandish. You don't have to meditate for an hour. Start small. Start for a minute. And then go on to 2 minutes, and then keep pushing it like that, and see how your mind deals with those urges and those things you feel. An app I would recommend is Headspace. You can start from there, and I think it's a good place to start.
So, if I hear you correctly, Dr. Habila, you are saying that he needs to be able to get this under control. He needs to be able to control his thought processes. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Like, if he's able to control his thoughts around the opposite sex, then it will help him to control his reactions, his erections. I don't know. Please just clarify.
Yes,
I want to be.
It's not just around the opposite sex. It's going to be hard saying I want to control my urges around the opposite sex alone. The whole concept is about being present and being able to, see that, yes, I'm having this urge, but I'm not going to act on it. I'm going to let it go. I'm feeling this, I'm seeing this. I don't have to act on it. I'm going to let it go. It's not just about the sex, but it's a concept on its own that you can apply to a lot of things. And the sexual part is one of them.
Okay. So again, let's bring this down to the barest possible way that anyone can understand this. John is taking a walk on a certain day and he passes by, for example, a lady selling something in the store. And at that point in time, he's because he's been doing this maybe for a while, doing the meditating and all of that. Then around the time when he's passing this woman, because he's been able to get his thoughts under control, he will not have an erection. Is that what you're saying? Because when you say, it's a template and it's something that you need to work on it so that you don't act on it. When I hear you say act on it, I'm hearing you say, that you go ahead and want to have sex with the person. But for him, it's not that he wants to do that. He's never had sex before. It's just that he cannot control his body, and his body gives him away. So are you saying that if one is able to develop this practice of maybe, I don't know, controlling your mind, controlling your thoughts and all of that, then it will help him to not have an erection? Or will he still have the erection and he just needs to know to manage it somehow?
Like before I brought this whole concept of meditation, I said having an erection is normal.
Okay.
And when your body wants to have an erection, you can't say don't have an erection. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But yeah, when you said it was the reaction is, the way you describe the reaction is like something he can't control and a reaction that gives him away, And if it's a reaction that gives you away, it's a reaction that can be tamed down.
Okay. All right, John. I hope you've heard and I hope that helped you. I have one more question here. Laraba with this one for Dr. Habila. She says, my question for the doctor is there really a difference or any daylight between male health and so-called paternal health? I hope you understood the question, Dr. Habila.
Yeah, well, I think the same way female health is hand in hand with maternal health. Female health, maternal health is the same way male health is paternal health.
Okay.
That's just it.
Okay. All right. Question answered. Okay. It is 10:58 p.m. I have a few more minutes. We're going to be wrapping up Body and Soul, the first edition for the year and ever on Tonight with Somi. We're going to be wrapping it up by 11:15, but we need to go on a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll let Dr. Habila give his concluding thoughts on our opening conversation for today, and then we'll take it from there. Remember, if you want to send an email or you would like for Dr. Habila to answer your questions, you can do any of the two. The email is somi@nigeriainfo.fm, and I'll make sure Dr. Habila gets it. Or you can call in right now or send your messages on WhatsApp. Dr. Habila will be here with us for another 15 minutes to see what we can do justice to. Otherwise, we move it on. And by the time we're back here next week, Thursday, we get into the specifics proper. All right. So in the meantime, let's go take that commercial break very quickly. When we come back, Body and Soul will be wrapping up.
In the comfort of your home, on your way to work, in the midst of your daily activities. Your Let's Talk station is here to keep you informed. Only on your number one for talk, 95.1 Nigeria Info. Let's Talk. Let's Talk.
Politics with security.
This is Nigeria Info.